Yeah, I got cold feet.
We're going live.
I got a tank. Oh, there you go. You're getting taller, Larry.
Say what?
You're getting taller.
You know what? I'm actually 6'7".
Are you really?
No.
You're not. You rascal. What are you, about 6 feet?
Dude, on a good day, I'm 5'6".
Well, that's a stretch.
Stop it, Timmy.
All right, you guys be good. We're going live. We are live on the air.
Harry Spate is joining the call.
Harry Spate, what's going on?
Harry Spade.
Look at this.
Word, gentlemen.
Well, we are about to start the call in just a minute, so I'm gonna mute you for a second and bring you in. Is that cool?
That's very cool.
You rock. Thanks for showing up.
Gotcha. I wouldn't miss it.
Excellent. You the man. That's good. All right, welcome everybody. It is a live event of the Selling from the Heart podcast. You're here with your co-host, Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry Levine? How's it going?
There's nothing going on today, Daryl. Nothing.
I am so excited. Look at people are just pinging in. We're gonna have.
I see Lee.
Look at this. This is Lee Bartlett is in the house. Let me get the rest of the group in. We're gonna figure all this technology out.
Kenny here.
I'm gonna get everybody in just a second. Oh, that's awesome.
How's anybody going to get a word in anyways with all these personalities on here?
Oh my goodness, no doubt.
No one will get a word in because Lee Bartlett's on the call.
I don't say a word.
That's great. That's fantastic. Oh man, Larry, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
I almost cried this morning like a little baby, but I saw my wife reading the book when I was leaving early this morning. She only reads my book when I'm not in the room, so I caught her reading it.
Oh, good for you. That's so fun. Well, man, we're gonna have people pinging in. We've got friends coming in from all over the place. If you're joining us live, this is the first day of the Selling from the Heart launch. And boy, Larry, we've been waiting for this book for a long. You have like poured gasoline on the excitement fire for this for about 6 months. I'm so glad to finally have this thing in hand.
This is, you know what? Because I'm seeing all the people pop in. This is just proof that if you stay true to yourself and you believe in yourself, social works. Because everybody on this call and everyone who's been on the journey, I met through social.
Isn't it incredible? It really is. It's powerful. It's powerful.
Hi, Sharon's here on the line.
Hey, what's going on, Sharon? How's it going?
Hey, Sherry.
Good. I won the shirt special for you. Cheers.
Yeah, but you know what? The only person who could possibly have a drink right now is Lee Bartlett, because it's what? What time is it over there?
Drink time.
Drink time.
7 o'clock at night. But I wouldn't miss this for the world. So it was important for me to be here and to congratulate you, Larry, on doing a fine job and demonstrating an important message to salespeople. So congrats on that, buddy.
No, thanks, Lee. And you know, Lee's been a big Lee. I probably nod on Lee's ear more than he probably would like, but you know, Lee. I met Lee actually before I even started writing the book, and then I was probably halfway into writing the book, and I pinged Lee on Skype, and I said, "Hey, we got to hop on a call." And I go, "I'm writing a book." He goes, "What the heck?" and I started sharing with him, and Lee's been huge, and I can't thank Lee enough for being a supporter. Same with Pat Tinney. You know, I met Pat commenting on a blog, and before you know it, we're striking up a conversation and a friendship. And Pat, I just want to say thank you as well.
But you know what, Larry, you've been driving for the basket. You know, you're authentic. Your posts, everything that you do is money. In a way, you remind me of Bartlett there.
No, dude, I'm a pimple on the backside of Bartlett.
Only you have a bad accent, Larry. I mean, Lee's accent is perfect.
That's so fun.
Yeah, I probably had some of the most heart-to-heart, colorful conversations with Lee, because I can drop the words with Lee, and sometimes I have a hard time dropping the words with Daryl.
I'm hard to offend.
That's hilarious. I love it. I love it. Well, Lee, I'm curious, like, when you first heard about this book and as you've kind of started looking at it, what are some of the things that stand out to you? I put you on the spot.
No, not at all. I think there's a gap in the market for someone to come out and discuss integrity in selling. And what Larry has done is he's crystallized the integrity, well, the required integrity to be successful in sales, and taken it a step further and then correlated that to sales skills, as I said a moment ago. And you know, when you have a mirror held up to you, and you can look inward, self-reflect in the various different sales predicaments that salespeople find themselves in, and then you have a framework for working through it, which is what Larry's done.
Yeah,
it's incredibly valuable. So I'm, as I said, I'm full of respect for what it takes to write a book. I know, you know, as well as anybody, it took me 2 years. I know you've been working at it a long time, Larry, and I think it's going to be extremely well received. So,
oh, thank you. It's, you know, you learn a lot through this journey, and it was really interesting because I got an email from somebody that I've known for a really long time, who saw me. God, I've known this person almost 20 years, and he goes, you know something? He goes, you haven't changed one bit. And I go, it's just me. I just wanted to bring this to life that says, you know what? It's okay to be authentic. It's okay to be genuine. And I think it's an important time in the sales world to bring this back. Everyone kind of dodges the bullet on this one because they think it's too mushy-gushy. But you know, I've asked so many people. I've gone back to old clients. I've gone to people in the community who knew I was writing the book, and they applauded me because I think it's time that this thing comes mainstream. And I can't thank everybody for the support. I mean, I threw out a video this morning and I almost started to weep, and I go, you know what, that's just wimpy, but I go, you know, that's just me. And I think if salespeople can just snap this one up and realize that it's okay to be authentic and it's okay to be genuine, and watch what starts to happen to the level of your relationships, you'll be amazed. And I think when people start reading this book, they're really going to start seeing it. And, you know, I've had people that downloaded the first 3 chapters that all of a sudden are coming out of the woodworks going, you know what, I'm lost, I'm having a bad sales year, this has been a breath of fresh air, I can't believe I'm reading it, this is me. And I'm like going, oh my gosh, pinch and poke me. But it's relating to people in a way that I didn't think it would in the beginning, but now I go, oh my gosh, it's here. So wow.
You know, I think it addresses, just on that point, sorry to cut in, I think it addresses a couple of well, some very important points. You know, salespeople are faced with predicaments. I mean, who do they work for? Do they work for the company or for the client? You know, they're told to maximize revenues, yet is that the right thing for the client? So what you believe and what you believe integrity to be are important questions. And that's what I liked about it. It tackles those questions, and it allows people to process where they actually sit.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, what's that, Sharon?
It's Deb Calvert. Hi, Larry.
Deb!
Hi,
hey, what's going on?
I'm not well, but I did not want the moment to go by without congratulating Larry and joining in the celebration for this really, really important work. I mean, aside from us all being fans and agreeing with this and knowing that it's needed in the sales community, I wanted to say this is what you've done, Larry. It's important. It's a message that people truly are hungry to hear, and a permission that I think our entire community needs to be able to come into its own. I just love what you've done.
Thank you. I mean, it means a lot because you've been on the journey with me for a while as well. So I just want to say I love you.
You too, right back at you. And I'm going to stick around for just a little while longer and hear all the other praise and adulation, because it's exciting. I'm happy for you. You know, more than I'm happy for you, though, I really am happy for for everybody who's in sales and who has an opportunity to see themselves differently because of what you did there.
No, thanks. I appreciate it.
Oh, that's good.
Hey, Larry, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
And all of us on the line here are going to, if you've ever written a book, are probably going to react to this. What did you feel like when you got that first solid finished book down in your hands?
Well, if you see the picture on social, you'll know. So what happened is I got a bunch of books that came in on Friday, and I had my head down. I was doing some work, and I didn't even know they were sitting on the doorstep. And it wasn't until my wife had come home and she goes, "Hey babe, look what's sitting on the doorstep." And then I thought it was Christmas time. And I go, and I opened the book, and we both, her and I, just looked at each other and we didn't know what to say. I honestly didn't know what to say. And so the first thing I did is I picked the book up, I threw a bunch of books in my hand, and I snapped the picture, and I had to throw it on social. My wife goes, "I can't believe you just did that."
That's awesome.
Hey, James.
Hey, James Muir in the house.
James Muir's in the house.
Woo, man.
Captain Muir. I just want to know what time it is for Lee Bartlett right now. Actually, is.
It's still light outside, so
He's hiding a double diamond under the table.
That's right.
I'm surprised Lee's not eating Chinese food, because every time I talk to Lee, he's got chopsticks and a Chinese thing in his hand.
He's got an Asian fetish.
Oh, that's funny.
But you know, and then I started reading it, and it was so funny. We went out. I took my book with me to a social event on Friday night, and then we wound up at somebody's house, and it's 10 o'clock at night, and they go, "Where's Larry?" And I'm sitting in a chair reading my book. And they just started laughing. I've read my book 3 times already.
Crazy. You know, it's funny. When we finished the first book that I did, Unlocking S, my wife and I just kind of drove out to one of the big lakes up here in the area. We live in lake country. I'm surrounded by lakes. And we cracked open the box, and we sat there and stared at each other and went, "Oh my God, we can't go back." Yeah. We can't go back. It's like, you know, the genie is out of the bottle.
That's for sure.
But I think I was telling Daryl, I started on the call, is my wife will only read the book when I'm not in the room.
Why would that be?
She didn't want to see you rolling her eyes at you.
No, Joel, stop. No, because this is why. She goes, she started reading the book on Saturday, and I was doing a social event on Saturday, and she pulled me aside and she goes, "I couldn't make it through Scott McGregor's acknowledgement before I started to cry." So when she reads the book, and she's got a book in one hand and a tissue in the other, and she's made it to chapter 5 already. I'm kind of proud of her.
That's good. I don't think my wife's even listened to the audio version of my book. So you're way ahead of me.
Yeah, but James, you sound like a guy who's gargling walnuts.
Oh, I do. What? Am I coming in bad?
You're good, James.
I'm
what?
trying to remember. Who else has done their own recording? Has anybody here actually done their own recording of their book?
No.
Oh, it is horrible. It's so bad. I did half of it. It is like, oh my gosh, I know. You listen to yourself at first and you go, "Oh, I can't do this," and then you think nobody else can read it like you, and then you just muscle through it, and it's like 2 sentences forward, 1 sentence backward, 2 sentences forward, 1 sentence, and for freaking 300 pages, it sucks.
Oh man.
Well, it's so interesting because I'm getting message upon message. "Hey, can I get the audio?" And I said, "No, not yet." And they go, "Oh, well, I'll just wait." And I said, "You might be waiting for a bit, so if you can really be so kind, can you at least buy the book or download it on Kindle?"
Yeah, well, I think it took Tom Williams just launched his book, right? And I don't think it was out one day and somebody goes, "Hey, where's the Audible version of this book?" Right? So
yeah.
That's
I
hilarious.
remember when Daryl and I started the podcast like a year and a half or so ago, and I listened to the first podcast. I go, I can't listen to my own voice. Now I really don't care. So who knows? It's just finding the time to do the audio. I just gotta work through it.
You do. You can get somebody else to do it, but my
No, I got to do it in my own.
Nobody will be able to read it the same way you do, right? That's
No.
the thing.
No. Especially with
I think you'd probably be a part of the Tourette's Club by the time you finished it.
Oh, I erased all those bloopers where you swear at the end of the sentence. You're like, oh man, I screwed that up again. So, Lee, did you go to a studio to do what you did?
I did. I had a 3 weeks of playing. I just couldn't, I struggled with the pace. It was a nightmare. I didn't enjoy the process. Those soundproof booths, they're hot, you're enclosed. And then I had a consultancy job. I couldn't finish it off. I had to go. So it was, I shot over to the States. So it's still in limbo. I mean, it's 3/4, I'd say, recorded. But I'm actually thinking of releasing a second edition and putting all of the bits in that my editor cut out, because I wasn't sure when I released your first book, you're in everybody else's hands, so I let her just shred it, and I regret it because there was a lot of context behind the stories that it really would have shown a bit more personality and would have given a lot more flavor. So I think I'm going to release a second version.
You should.
Awesome.
I have a confession. On my audiobook, the closer you get to the end, the less it matches the actual book. The first thing you figure out is that you don't talk like you write in most cases.
That's right.
So as you're reading it, you're like, man, I'm not going to say it like that. I want to say it like this. And then by the end of the book, I was just ad-libbing. It was mostly just an outline. So I hope the people who are listening to it aren't following it verbatim, because it doesn't. The closer you get to the end, the less it follows.
Yeah, I don't feel like adding another chapter to my book. So.
Hey, Larry. I'm sorry. Hey, Larry, I just wanted to wish you congratulations and wish you the best of luck going forward. I've got another call here coming up at 12:30 that I've got to prepare for, but it's fantastic that you finally have completed this. I know you're going to have great success, and there's nobody in this world that deserves it more than you. So congratulations.
Oh, man, thank you.
Amen to that.
Yeah,
All right.
Take
true.
care, all.
Well said. Well said.
Yeah, I'll pile on actually. As I'm reading through the book, and as I turn the last page, I'm just like, I just felt. I mean, I'm a pretty motivated guy to start with, and at the end of your book, I just felt like 110% of what I was when I started it. So, I just congrats on a really great book that's hitting a spot that no one's really touching, right? And a really important spot that no one's really touching right now in their books, and that is bringing together the human part and the intention part, along with the hard work part, right? So you didn't mince words, you lay it on the line, and a couple of times I got cold cocked in the face while I'm listening to it, and I'm thinking, man, I really need to work on that better, and but at the same time, you always sandwich that in between, the authentic pieces of what it's like and the value of being a genuine salesperson. So, thumbs up. I really loved it. I loved every word of it. It was a great book. I could have read probably 20 more chapters if you'd had the willpower for that.
No, and I appreciate it. When I was putting this together, and sometimes I can use some colorful language and colorful ways of driving a message, and I go, God, I just can't say it, but I want to say it just because it's me. But I go, this book's going to be in so many people's hands that it's, the last thing I want to do is offend somebody. But I think for those, when they start reading it, it's a cold dose of reality, especially to a lot of salespeople out there that,
right.
You know what, this to me is the missing link. I mean, I believe in it. Yeah, the way I wrote the book was me to a T. It's the way I lived my sales life, and you know what? People respect that. It's just the problem is I don't think salespeople just have enough in them to really ask their clients enough questions to say, you know what do you expect from me? Because they assume that they already know.
Yeah.
And I think this is gonna cause people to take a step back and say, you know what? I think I can do better. In fact, I know I can do better.
I think that part of you comes out in every page of the book, to be honest with you. It's love, but it's tough love. And so I don't think that anybody would be angry at any of the challenge that you put forth in the book that way. So even though it might be hard, right? I mean, who wouldn't be afraid to go ask their client, say, hey, where is the value that I'm bringing you, if they're worried that they're not bringing any value? That's
Right.
a hard question to ask, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting, and I use this analogy all the time, with sales teams, and I'll relate it to marriage or dating and all that. And I go, there's no way on the face of the earth that anybody, right, would see their significant other every 3 or 4 months or every 6 months or when a problem exists, because the divorce rate would be a lot higher than it is already. So why do you do that with your clients?
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing, and that's what people will read when they start diving into the book, is first take care of yourself. You got to understand yourself first, and then the second thing is you got to get reacquainted with your clients.
Right.
Yeah.
And that means you gotta love your clients like you love your family. And my clients knew that. And luckily, when I was in the sales community, in my marketplace, I lived in a lot of the marketplaces that I sold in, and I still see clients 20 and 25 years later that come up to me and give me a hug. They know my wife's name, they know my kid's name, they've seen my kids grow up, and that's what it means, and that's what salespeople need to get back to. But the problem is the leaders and the executives of those same companies need to read my book in order for it to really have true impact on their sales team.
Yeah.
Yeah, amen.
Hey, Larry, this is Deb again. I got a question.
Uh-huh.
So, of the people who are attending here and celebrating with you, and others who have been champions of the book, what do you think that we all have in common that makes us get it? And what is it that it will take for other people to maybe get it in the same way that we do, and really, you've called this a movement, and I won't disagree with that. I think that I felt the same way about some of the stuff where we overlap in the work that I've done this past year. But what is it that causes people to understand, almost like at a visceral level?
I think it's you all understand who you are and you're comfortable in your own skin. And then I know everybody on this call, and I know Harry's Spates on the call, and I'll kind of share a story because I think it'll resonate with everybody on this call, is as I got to know Harry and some of his work, and I know Harry's been on missions before, I think everybody on this call leads with a servant's heart, and you have a sincere desire to help. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why this is resonating, as it resonates with other people, is if you learn how to give and give of yourself, good things happen. And as I got to know everybody on this call, we all had a common theme here, and that common theme was giving. Mm-hmm. Giving of insight, giving of education, being there to help. I mean, I met everybody on this call outside of Daryl via social, and I didn't, and some of you guys I still haven't had the privilege of personally shaking your hand, but I know at some point I will. Hey, Tom Williams. But I think that's what it is we have the same mindset, even though we're spread out amongst the United States and different countries, is we all have that, we all think alike. And if we didn't think alike, if we didn't share the same values, some of you people who are so kind to write something in my book wouldn't have written it. Does that make sense, Deb?
It does to me. I think, the values, the place where we sort of have that center connection, being around values. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I think it's resonance. It's like it's like resonating. It's like when you hit that same frequency, all of a sudden other things start resonating. I think that selling from the heart and being authentic, there's a huge population of sales professionals that I don't know how to say, almost embarrassed to be sales professionals, if you will, because the reputation of the sales profession is so unscrupulous and all of that. But I think your book is resonating because there is a large group of awesome sales pros out there that go, yes, finally someone said it and put it in print.
What's interesting is I started dripping out the book probably right after the first of the year. I'd probably barely been into it, 2-3 months. And I got a message inside LinkedIn from somebody, and I can't remember whose name was. If I did, I'd give this person a shout out. But this person goes, I'm going to be curious to see how your book unfolds, because there's been books around authenticity that have been written, but I'm going to be curious what your book is going to be all about. But he goes, I'm going to ask you to look up a word, and Daryl, I know you remember this because you're about the first person I called. He goes, I want you to look up the word self-deception.
Mm-hmm.
And share with me the word, what it means to you. And first thing I did is I got pissed off at the guy because I really didn't know what self-deception meant. I think the guy's slamming me, so I called the girl. And then I called my wife, and my wife goes, I don't even know what the hell you're talking about, right? And so the more I started diving into it, I started thinking about it. I go, okay, I kind of get it. So I messaged the guy back. And I go, this is what I think you mean. And he goes, you're kind of on the same page. But he goes, you know what? He goes, I've read so many books on authenticity, but I don't think the person who wrote it is being authentic. I think it's a book about authenticity. I said, dude, when you read this is me to a T. I'm not going to blow any smoke up your backside. There's going to be no scientific research. There's no Harvard, business review studies. There's no Stanford studies. There's no nothing. It's me being me and what I believe needs to be brought back into the sales world. And the guy gave me 2 thumbs up, and ever since the guy's been a raving fan. And I think that's what it is it was just me being me and how I took care of my clients, how I lead my life still to this day. And I always tell people, if you saw me in the community, this is exactly what you get. Me being online, me being offline, you get what you get with me, and there is no difference. I don't have to worry about juggling personalities. And that's what I want people to understand when they read the book.
I think your voice in the book really comes through as well, Larry. So it makes it clear that it's you, not just what you say, but how you say it. I really did. I think I told you this before. I felt like I got to know you better because of reading your book. So, yeah, you got authenticity nailed.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks, Deb.
Yeah, I think just piling on to Deb's question, though, the question is, well, how do we get salespeople out there to make the connection, to understand that it's. I remember working my butt off at the very beginning, leaning into it really hard, trying to be awesome, right, trying to be good, and it was really about ego, about me, and it took a long time before I figured if I just lean back and help the customer get what they need, I'm going to get everything that I need.
Yeah.
But I personally think that your book does a good job of elevating this subject to help turn the light bulb on for these reps, right? Because it's not an easy connection. I mean, even those of us who study hard, it was a lot of years before I finally, the light turned on for me. And instead of leaning into it, I started just being more authentic, being real, and just trying to be about the customer.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because I probably go back maybe 12, 13 years ago, and I shared it a little bit in my book, but I hired a business coach and a mentor, and it's the first time I ever went down that road. And it's then that I learned about who I was and that it's okay to kind of share me online. And that's when I started figuring out this whole authenticity thing and branding and saying, you know what? It's okay, right? You get what you get. And what was really interesting in the company that I worked for 20 years, they had a hard time really seeing this because, you put anyone who's in sales, and this, and there's sales leaders on this call, we push numbers down sales reps' throats. And sometimes, we don't make the connection to the sales rep's a number. But I said, I can't connect a number to my client because it's more than that. And what's interesting is, now we go 20 years later and now they're starting to get it, right? They're starting to get what I brought.
But tell me, how long was it before your boss felt that it turned on for him to figure out that what you were doing was working?
Until I had enough closed door meetings with him and said, just let me be me.
So I was your boss, right? I had a guy that worked for me that was actually kind of an abrasive guy. And in the first 10, 15 minutes of any encounter when I would be with him, I would watch with fascination because he was kind of off-putting. But if he could make it past that 15-minute window, what would happen is the customers would click and they'd go, this guy is just a straight shooter, no BS kind of guy. And to this day, of all the clients that I've worked with, they all still remember this guy because he was just a straight shooter. And so if something was messed up, he would call it messed up. And if he needed to do something, he'd do something. But if they needed to do something, he'd call them out on it too.
Yeah.
And they really appreciated that, right? But it did, I will say, there was that 15 minutes of wonder at the beginning of every meeting where they're like, oh, what is this guy? I've never seen a sales guy that's like this.
Yeah. Enough about me, James. Let's go back to Larry.
Larry, things I think that that you're doing here is you're pointing the market back towards civility. And there's been, so I'm old time hockey, and I admit it. But I remember around the year 2000 when the whole civility thing started to drop like a rock. And as the market flipped over, buyers became stronger because there was too many sellers and not enough buyers, and we all know what happens there.
Yep.
And it's this whole civility thing that's permeating itself through our industry, which really concerns me. Larry and I sort of spun a couple of notes back and forth, and my belief very early in business, and I used to have people like my senior managers almost laugh and chuckle at me, was that it was about relationships first and business second, and they didn't get it. But you know what? The world has to change, and if you're writing a sales book and all you're doing is for all intents and purposes patting yourself on the back all the way through the book, and you're not trying to raise the bar. I mean, what I think you've done is you've taken a risk, and a positive risk, by the way. I'm really big on embracing this kind of stuff, just around saying to people, it's okay to be fair. It's okay to be straight up with the client. It's okay to take a risk for them, because if you take a risk for them and you explain all of the risk attached to a sale, that de-risks the sale, and that allows them to actually go in and risk for you. And I can't think of anything any bigger, because if we're all full of BS with our clients, we're all dead.
Yeah, and it was interesting. I always took a different approach, and there's going to be there's going to be Debbie Doubters out there, and there's going to be naysayers out there that say, set the relationships aside, you're there to sell, and I get it. But in the long run, and that's why Daryl and I always on our podcast always say you got to lead with your heart, not your wallet. Yeah. And there's so many people out there that can smell commission breath. There's so many people out there that the minute you walk in the door, right, they're going, okay, I'm waiting for the sales line, so I can start rolling my eyes and politely disengage while you spew a bunch of crap out there. And I just said, you know what? I may not win every sale, but I knew that the sales that I did win, they were clients for life, because I spent and this is where I started just catching on to this. I was not the world's strongest closer, right?
Oh my gosh.
I remember sales guys in my sales bullpen they couldn't wait for like the second to the last day of the month so they could just plow through sales, and I'd laugh at them, right, because they just made fools out of themselves. But I always said, you know what, if I can open the conversation from the very first time I shake somebody's hand, if I can just say, you know what, this is what you get if you decide to do business with me, and people start seeing that and they can smell it and they can relate to it, in the back of their mind they're going, finally, somebody has walked into this office who I can relate to, and all of a sudden the conversations take different directions. Everything just, and James, you've been on the podcast before and we've even spoken about it. It's just something that happens. You can just sense it. And I just think that the reason why the whole sales world is so screwed up is we take the first part of that sales process in the first couple meetings and we make it so salesy, and we don't humanize it because we're not in enough of those first meetings to really, to sense it. So you're always got your sales hat on. I just knew when to juggle my sales hat and when to juggle my human hat. And it's just a delicate balance of both.
Yeah, well, they know why you're there, right?
Well, obviously, they already know.
So
I make it even worse.
Yeah, well, I don't want to make it metaphysical or anything, but I think that it's about the law. I think it's about the law of attraction, right? You get where you're sending out this energy about being authentic and real and actually trying to help, and they pick up on it.
All right, I got to interrupt. I have got some fantastic news, Larry, and I don't know if you guys are going to see this when I put it up on the video. I am showing on the screen Amazon best sellers in sales and selling techniques. #1 best seller, selling from the heart. It's lunchtime on day one, baby. Oh my gosh. Holy smoke.
Right on, brother. You're a best
That's what I
seller.
came for.
Wow.
Kaboom!
It took a whole 30 minutes.
Boom! Wow!
It's too bad this is on a Wednesday because I don't usually drink during the week.
We need some champagne. Oh my gosh. That's I mean, this is resonating, Larry. Holy smoke.
I've got a storage problem.
There you go. Hey, congratulations, man. Number one.
My glasses off to see. Hey, is Scott McGregor on the call?
Yes.
I am on the call. I hopped off a webinar and wanted to say hi. Congratulations.
No, I just want to call Scott out because I want to share. I got to share a story, and this is. I've met everybody on social, right? Commenting on blogs. So for all those people out there says social doesn't work, take a double check on that one. But actually, Daryl introduced me to McGregor, and I struck up a conversation with Scott. I think we were on the phone, 2.5 hours the very first time you and I spoke?
Yeah.
Something like that. And all of a sudden, something just clicked. And this goes back, 2.5, almost 3 years ago? Something like that. And then the first time I saw Scott was in Vegas at, what was that? I forgot. Oh, it was a LinkedIn Sales Connect conference.
Sales Navigator.
Yeah, and that was the first time I met Scott, and I walked up and gave him a hug, and for 2 days, I mean, we were inseparable. And then our lives went apart, but there wasn't a week that went by that Scott and I haven't spoken, and I'd give my shirt off my back to McGregor, and he knows it. And then when he put together a group of really great individuals to write Standing O, then it's his book that came out in July.
Nice.
I was right there, and I've only seen Scott McGregor twice, and I love the guy like a brother. And it's the power of social. But that means Scott and I talk almost as much as Daryl and I speak, not quite, but it's pretty darn close. I just wanted to say I love you.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
There it is.
It is crazy because I have to remind myself that we've actually been in each other's company only a couple times. Although that last New York trip with the Refinery Hotel, I've never seen anyone drink more vodka in my life. So.
Okay, so I gotta tell a funny story because I think this is.
Sorry, I got to jump, brother.
Okay, thanks.
Thank
All right.
you.
Hey,
Bye,
take care, Lee.
Take care, Lee. Good seeing you, man.
Thanks.
Good seeing you, Lee.
Hope to see you in December.
See you, buddy.
See you.
Okay, so as long as McGregor, and this is the only story that involves what he just said.
Remember, I have video.
He does have video, so
Video.
so it's the day after his launch party in July, and my wife just loves New York City, so we're walking in Times Square, and all of a sudden I get a text from Scott, and he goes, "Hey, you want to meet Meg and I at the Refinery for lunch?" And I go, "Okay, cool." I'm like 6 blocks away from the Refinery, and I told Robin, I said, "Hey, we're gonna go meet Scott and Meg for lunch," and she goes, "Okay, it's just lunch." And in the back of my head saying, "I know it's not just lunch." And so, if you guys ever go to New York City, you have to go to the Refinery, because when you're sitting there, it's like on the 13th floor of this hotel outside, and you're looking at the Empire State Building. So we're sitting there having lunch, and then I was gonna be good, and I go, "Okay, I'm just gonna have one drink." And 6 hours later, we're walking out of the Refinery.
Yeah. You know, when American Express calls you and says, "Are you sure that you bought all of this?" you know you had a good time. You know you had a very good time. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. So congrats. I've got to hop off, but great seeing all you guys.
Awesome.
I'd love to connect with you guys, but just wanted to say congrats. And I mean, I could not be happier, prouder. Nobody deserves it more than you. This is literally just the beginning, and I can't even imagine what this is going to do. So congrats. I absolutely love you to death. And you're the real deal.
All right, thanks, dude.
All right, guys.
All right, tell Meg I said hello.
Take care.
Take care, Scott. Take care.
Amazing.
Wow.
Larry,
All right,
number
I just
one.
wanted to prove to everybody.
It's
like,
legit.
It's probably backwards. It's probably backwards.
Oh yeah!
I love it.
That says you are number one right there, right?
Wow, look at that.
Unbelievable.
Great job.
Dude, it hadn't even been 6 hours in. Holy smoke. Congratulations.
There you go. Now you have to change the color already. You got to put the stamp on it.
That's right. Number one bestseller.
Oh, and you get the stickers. You get the stickers. You all use the stickers? I'll have to take my headphones.
Sticker on your book, Muir.
Oh, I put that on there after I hit bestseller status. But I gotta show you something here. Let me duck off for a second.
Hey, Tom Williams, what's happening?
How you doing? Congratulations, Larry.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
I love the book. My copy actually comes today in the mail.
Nice.
Yeah.
You have to snap a picture.
I'm sorry?
So you have to snap a picture.
That's right.
Absolutely. We're happy to do it.
So
Really
good.
pleased for you, my friend.
No.
I love the first 3 chapters. Thought it was extremely well written, and it really describes you to a T about being authentic.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And hey, Daryl, I have some of the best conversations with Tom Williams.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'll get a call from Tom, and I go, oh my gosh. Now I know we're going to be on a call for at least an hour, but it's no offense to Tom.
You're lucky it's only an hour with Tom Williams.
Why, have you guys had marathon conversations?
That's awesome.
I'm hearing the message. Maybe I got to talk less. Huh?
That man must sit up all night with his question book, and then he gets on the phone, and by the time I'm finished, I'm sitting in my gotchis, for God's sake. I mean, he's just taking everything. He's just wiping everything off the table, and he says, well, I gotta go now because I'm kind of busy.
Oh.
You know what it is, Larry, is I've got so many good friends just like you've made on social that you got to pick their brain because there's so much knowledge there.
Yeah.
Oh, you picked mine clean.
I think I picked you and James Muir. Pretty tight. Yeah. You two guys have been an enormous amount of help, and I can't thank you guys enough for your help and your friendship.
Oh yeah. You know what? It's a shame that Deb's not here to hear this, but I
just got a message. She had to bow out.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, this community has just got so many authentic, really great people that are completely selfless at just helping. And Deb is absolutely at the top of that list. I mean, I can't even believe the help that she rendered to me at the very beginning. And so anyway, it's very cool to think that instead of like other businesses where people are feeling like they're competitors with each other, that everybody is actually working hard to help each other out. So I'm excited for both of you guys. I got to go back and look and see where Tom's book fits on the list, because he just came out about a week earlier, right, Tom?
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. So you got this is what I was going to show you guys. You got to get these cool stickers.
There you go.
When you're in the bookstore, you peel one off and you put it on there, and then you sign the book and it's signed by the author, and you can sell an extra copy while you're at the airport bookstore or whatever.
Oh man.
Yeah.
See, that'd be so nice to see my book in airport bookstores, but I'm not.
Dude, come on, dream big. I can't.
Yeah.
I see Kathy Leckie.
Hi, Larry. Congratulations. God told me that there was a party going on over here.
What'd you do? You just switched chairs with McGregor?
I just came in here. How are you?
Good.
My mom loved your post.
Nice.
You're a champion.
That was
Awesome.
very exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. That was really cool.
So, well, you deserve it. So.
Very exciting. What a great day. I love it. I love seeing all that, everything going on online, and everybody, all the support. Everybody's so excited. Great.
Yeah, and you know what? And this, I mean, I don't even know how to say this, but I'm just gonna just share it. Is, there's so many different ways that we can slice up social and what it means to be social, and I'll take all the other words that you can throw next to social out of this, but you get out what you put into it. And I'm president of my Kiwanis group right now, at least for another week. I've been all year, and from October 1st to September 30th, and I always tell, I always start off every meeting, you get out of Kiwanis what you put into Kiwanis. And the same can be said when people decide or not decide how to leverage social, and you get out of social what you put into social.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I've met some of the closest, nicest, coolest people I could ever possibly meet on social, because it's me being me and it's them being them. And everybody, like I said, everybody on this call, with the exception of Daryl, I've met through a comment on a post, a comment on a blog, right? A tweet and a retweet of a Twitter post. And I just think if you do this right and you just throw your human self out there, and if somebody takes enough initiative to comment on something, you owe it back to them to comment back. And what's really interesting, I think James and I and Pat and Tom and Daryl, I know we've all spoken about it, is if you give and give and give, good things happen. And I mean, I'm just pinching myself right now because I never thought in a million years. I got to share a quick story that, I mean, I knew 26 years ago I made a promise to my wife that I'd write a book, and she knows that. It just didn't happen at the age that I wanted it to happen. It happened 3 years later. But I kind of put it on the side just because of the road that Daryl and I were taking together. And then, hey, can I share the story, Daryl?
Absolutely.
So what was really interesting is, you know, I live in Southern California, just north of Los Angeles, and Daryl lives in the South, just outside of Little Rock, Arkansas. So we see each other every day on Skype, but physically, unless we're speaking together or something like that, we just don't see each other that often unless I happen to be close by and I ping by and I crash at his house. But so last year we agreed, it was around August, that we'd go on a sabbatical and we would just go off somewhere and just plan out what, you know, this thing looks like. And so I'm flying from LA to Houston to Little Rock. And all of a sudden, right, I land in Houston, I flip my phone off of airplane mode, and my phone blows up with messages from Daryl. So I call him, I go, hey, is everything okay? And he goes, yeah, everything's okay, but I got a change of plans. I'll just tell you when you get to Little Rock. Great. So I get into Little Rock, and, you know, it gives me a big hug and all that, and, you know, he takes my luggage and we throw it in the car. Click, doors locked, and he goes, we start hopping on the freeway, and I go, okay, it's no big deal, we're just cruising to his house. And all of a sudden, we're cruising in a different direction, and from Little Rock to Dallas, Texas, the guy goes, this is why you're going to write a book. I go, what the hell is going on? The guy had me hostage in his car from Little Rock to Dallas. And
it worked.
He goes, this is why you need to read a book. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, right. And I have a hard time swearing in front of Daryl. And the whole time I'm just dropping F-bombs on this dude in the back of my brain. You just need to shut up, right? I just can't deal with this. Now I got 7.5, 8 hours in the car with this guy. So we get to the hotel in Dallas, we get something to eat, and he's still yakking in my ear. All the way to Austin, Texas, and then we drive from Austin, Texas, back to Little Rock, and I go, okay, dude, you sold me. He busted me down for 2.5 days.
Something you got to do what it takes, man. You got to do what it takes.
But you know what? It was worth it. But here's the kicker. I'm in the Midwest, the early part of last month, about 3 hours from Daryl's house, and Daryl goes, okay, I'm going to come pick you up, and then we're going to shoot some video and all that for the Selling from the Heart website. So I change my clothes, I throw on some shorts, and, you know, he takes my luggage, and I said, dude, before I get in the car, you open up the trunk and open up all the doors, because I got to make sure you have no luggage in here.
We're going on another road trip.
Oh my God, that's a good one. I like that.
Hey, you know, sometimes you got to do what it takes, Larry. I'm so proud of you. You put, I mean, I saw firsthand how much blood, sweat, and tears you put into this, and I mean, I have nothing but mad respect for anybody that's written a book. It's an incredible amount of work, but I know just from the feedback already that this is resonating with people, and you know, it's so exciting to see, dude. I gotta say, in the broader category of selling on Amazon, not just the narrow category you're in, dude, you're already at number 4 on like the big category. You're up there with Jeb, with Daniel Pink, with Donald Miller. Dude, this is exciting. I just can't wait for you to take a look at this later, and I am so fired up for you.
No, I appreciate it, and you know, it's as I started writing the book, and as I started dripping things out, and people are going, "When's this book going to be available? When's the book going to be available?" And I remember Keenan. I remember when the first time Keenan came on the podcast, and he goes, "You're writing a book?" Remember that, Daryl?
Yes.
And it was the first time Keenan came on the podcast, and I'm telling Daryl, I can guarantee the guy's gonna swear, so you're just gonna have to deal with it, right?
It was awesome.
I'm not allowed to swear in front of Daryl, or what?
What's this deal?
Huh?
What's the deal, Larry? Do I intimidate you? Nobody intimidates you.
No, it's just you and James Muir. There's something about you and James Muir.
You know what?
We got the good boy image.
Yeah.
James,
Nothing wrong with that, James.
James has got that minister look. He's a preacher.
I couldn't get my Bible out
That's
here.
right.
That's not the Bible, by the way.
It's a good one, though. Oh, that's funny.
What the heck was I saying?
I don't know. You're talking about Keenan.
And he's gonna drop some F-bombs on you.
Shout out to Keenan. There's no doubt about that.
But so I tell
Raw
him
honesty.
on our podcast, you know, before we went live, he goes, "Hey, so what have y'all been up to?" Things like that. He thought I've been hanging around Daryl too much. What have y'all been up to? But anyway, I said, "Hey, Keenan, I'm starting to write a book, right? I'm kind of into it." And he goes, "Well, how long until you're done with the book?" And so I'm gonna get done with the book in about another 2 or 3 months, and then he goes, right? That's only Keenan can say. Right? He starts dropping all these colorful words.
There's
on
no way.
But the thing that stuck in my brain the most was Larry goes, "This is your first book. Do it right." And I remember those words that Keenan said. This is your first book. Do it right. I don't care how long it takes you, but it's your first one. Make sure that it's a good one.
Well, there's a reason. There's a reason. Think about it this way. You know, here's the mind-numbing things that people don't understand when they sit down to write a book, is that it lives. It's live. It lives for as long as your message is relevant. So to a degree, it's kind of like you're throwing your guts all over the parking lot so your neighbors can have a look at them. They just get to walk by and they go, "Look at that."
Man, I've never heard it described like that. Blowing your guts out.
You should hear my wife describe it. She says if I write another book, she's going to divorce me. But the worst news is, she said, you can get all that divorce stuff done, but I'm coming with you anyway. What the heck kind of a deal is that? She divorces me and then she's coming.
Oh, you know what? There's something about Pat Kenny that goes, "Are you sure you're not from Los Angeles?" Southern California.
I don't know.
That's
you know
so
what it
good.
is? I just think, you know, when you live in Canada, you're a little further north, you're a little lonely.
Well, you know what? You can change that real quick and move.
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
Well, we're coming up to the top of the hour here pretty soon. So let's see. Let's just, man, let's all give Larry one big last congratulations, and then we're going to wrap this up. I'm so fired up, Larry. I can't tell you how proud I am of you. And the only person that's more proud of you is Sharon. I can tell because she's wearing a shirt that says cheers. So
I'm so proud of you, Larry. I wore this on purpose just to congratulate you, and you are such a role model to me. You're giving me inspiration to move forward and write my own book one day, and you know, just being so authentic, so real, so yourself. It's just been a pleasure knowing you these past 2 years, and we're gonna do some fun stuff, all of us here on the call.
I so appreciate it.
Come on.
All right.
Congratulations.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
bye.
Bye.
Take care.
See ya.
Awesome.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye, Kathy. I'll see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Nice meeting Kathy.
That's so good. Well, Larry, we're ending this call with you on #1 Amazon bestseller status. I gotta say, I knew this was going to resonate. I knew it was going to be big, but I had no idea it was going to be this big this quickly. So that's just the testament to your authenticity and the way you have reached out and helped people over the last year and networked like a maniac. And if anyone doubts whether selling from the heart, the principles and the heart behind this book works, like if anyone thinks, oh, that's way too mushy gushy, I would say read it and prove me wrong. Because these guys, I mean, look at this. A year into this, and you've built a network of people that have vaulted you to #1 bestseller status on day one of your book launch. Larry, that's, I mean, if that doesn't, congratulations, big time. Amazing.
No, I appreciate it. It's just, I'm. If you'd see my hands, I'm shaking. It takes it takes a lot for me not to say anything. I just don't know what to say. I mean, I'm just like going. I'm on cloud 9. It's like I can't even believe this is real. But there's just way too many people to thank. I love all you guys. I mean, you got a special place in my heart. Everybody who's been on this call, it's been a journey. It's something that I'll just never forget. So,
it changes you, Larry. This is something that I think is so important. I think if everybody's on here who's written a book, that you're going to change people's lives. You're going to do this, and they will remember it for a long time. They'll remember all of the great things you did, and they're going to thank you for it. And years later, they're going to come back to you and say, "This is how what you wrote changed my life." And if there's anything I can say, is that if you take positive risks like this as you have, and if you pin yourself, and there's a lot of people out there that can't. I don't know why this is, but they somehow take on this persona, and I really don't understand it. But I can tell you, from the very first time that you and I had a chat, I just thought to myself, holy smokes. I mean, this guy is on it. He understands it. And, clients, I'm back to this whole risk thing. You de-risk the sale with your just being straightforward and laying things out and offering extraordinary value and being yourself. And as you've done the self-analysis, which we should all do.
Yeah.
We should all do it almost on a daily basis. But anyway, listen, I'm about to chime out here. I just want to say congratulations. I hope your family just like gives you the big bear hug tonight, and we're all giving you the bear hug. And
I appreciate it. Thanks, Pat.
And you got thumbs up from Canada.
Hey, but before everybody hops off this call, and I know he's on mute, I want Harry Spade. So, Harry Spade, hop on this call for a second. So,
Hey there.
Hey, Harry. So, there's, you guys don't know Harry Spade outside of Daryl, probably. I know Daryl knows Harry, but, I want you guys to meet Harry because, just real quick before we wrap up, can you share, when we first met, what went through your head and what you've lived through over this past almost year with me?
So when I first met you, I was at a Pros Elite management training, I believe. Was that our first face-to-face?
Yeah.
So Larry was in the room introducing social to a bunch of people who didn't get it, in my opinion. So out of that room, he basically got a lot of abuse, and he came up to me the next day. I think after he came out of the gym wearing a sweatshirt, I'm like, oh my God, do I have to talk to this guy?
He's used to abuse.
But I'm telling you, the conversation was amazing. It was just like-minded individuals, and then we went from there. And I'm just thrilled that we had that connection and that we found each other on social first, so that I knew who you were at that meeting. And as this fellow, the Canadian who doesn't have enough place to store alcohol, was saying, You are a game changer. I guess I can say a life changer as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thrilled to be part of the community, dude. Love it.
And I love Harry Spade. I probably talk to Harry 3 and 4 times a week. I'll just be rolling down the road and I'm just like going through this, I'm just going through the phone like we all do, right? We got to kill some time. And if Daryl's not there, I know my wife's working, Scott McGregor's not available. Harry Spade, what are you doing? I just want to I love Harry Spade.
Oh man, that's just great. I think you're just jealous of my haircut, man.
No, because I got a little bit more hair than you did. Not much.
I don't know, man.
Oh man. Well,
listen, the hair thing is a slippery slope, guys. I mean, my hair is Norwegian blonde. I want you to know I dye it this time.
Of course, of course. Well, Larry, big time congratulations. Keep it hot. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep selling from the heart, man. It is changing a lot of people out there, and I know this book is it's already making a splash, but the ripple from that, the waves rippling out are going to be huge in a lot of people's lives. So thank you for putting the time in to write this. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And thank you for sharing this book, supporting it. And we'll look forward to hitting you up on LinkedIn and seeing you on the Selling from the Heart podcast. Take care, everyone.
James, I'll see you at Outbound, dude.
I will see you at Outbound, my friend.
All right.
Awesome.
Rock it out, Bill.
Round 2. All right. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
It's great.